Hey everybody, welcome to another week of Breakfast All Day. We made it through, and here we are to look at the 7 days just passed. Christy and Matt are here. I'm Alonso, and got a couple more keys, but mainly the headlines, because it seems like, I guess, maybe the show business is revving back up to be a thing. Do we want to say that?
Yeah, it is. I want to begin with, we had some breaking news last night, which explains what our opening song is. And that is the very sad death of Digital Underground co-founder Shock G, better known as Humpty Hump.
Yes.
Who, rapper, producer, he played the drums, piano. He designed their album covers. He directed some videos. He discovered Tupac. He gave Tupac his break.
It's Sex Packets, that first album of theirs really kind of belongs of a piece with 3 Feet High and Rising from De La Soul and Paul's Boutique as like that late 80s kind of just, or mid 80s, like amazing sampling and rap and kind of like, upbeat, kind of fun party music, right? And Shock G was so into doing the character thing that a lot of people didn't know that he and Humpty Hump were the same person.
And the nose and the glasses are very convincing.
Very convincing. And Digital Underground really was kind of carrying the Parliament torch for a while. Like they were doing costumes and like that was a party band, right? And it was a super bummer. He did so much production work. He produced Tupac's first album, I believe, and he produced for Dr. Dre, and really solid producer and kind of behind the scenes guy. And I will say that Humpty Dance is one of my go-to karaoke songs.
Humpty, it's a fun song. I mean, because I was listening to...
stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you're used to.
Pretty good, Matt. Pretty good. I was listening to, same song as our opening song. I was listening to it before we began, and it's heavy and light at the same time, and that's what their sound is like. Like there's like a weight to the funk of the beat, but then there's like a buoyancy and a playfulness to the lyrics, and it's a bummer. He was 57. He was found dead in a Tampa, Florida hotel room, which is never a good sign. So
the other good Humpty song is "Do What You Like."
Yeah,
that's another one.
And "Kiss Me and I'll Kiss You Back." All happy, fun little songs. So, that's very sad. And then last night also we had the Spirit Awards.
Yes.
They were on a Thursday at night and they were virtual. Melissa Villaseñor was the host. And I guess people knew ahead of time that they had won. And so they were recorded bits. Anyway, it was all online. Regardless, the things that we thought would probably won in some cases. Nomadland won Best Feature and Chloe Zhao won Best Director. But then we had some cool surprises, I think, in the acting categories. So Riz Ahmed won Best Actor for Sound of Metal. Carey Mulligan won Best Actress for Promising Young Woman. Yoon Jung won for...
You roll your eyes, Alonso.
I didn't even notice that. I'm sorry. I'm delivering the news.
I'm waiting for the Promising Young Woman bandwagon to reach the station, however that happens.
There's a backlash to it. There are a lot of writers, women writers, who have said they have a really hard time with the ending, with her motivation in general. That's a whole other conversation. But anyway, yes. And so she won, but she's very good in it, Alonso. Can you acknowledge that? Yeah.
I liked her better in Wildlife.
I think she's great. I mean, anyway, you know what I think about Carey Mulligan in this role. And Paul Raci, which I'm thrilled about, won supporting actor for Sound of Metal. And then Yoon Jung for
shutouts for First Cow and Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, however. So boo.
Not a thing. And then Sound of Metal also won Best First Feature, and Palm Springs won Best First Screenplay, and Nomadland also won cinematography and editing, I want to say.
Yes.
So kind of a big night for them. Usually the Spirit Awards, as we all know, are the Saturday before the Oscars, and they're in a tent on the beach, and it's the most fun day of the year. And now it was all online, and Melissa Villaseñor did the kind of bits that they would have done anyway. Have you guys heard her Kristen Wiig impression?
No.
It's incredible.
Oh, wow.
No, I
It's
saw a
like
clip of
Kristen-
that. Yeah, I saw some promo about the clip. I didn't watch the clip yet, but I hear she's amazing.
Anyway,
have to
look it
look at
up.
that.
She also has an Owen Wilson that's pretty funny, but her Kristen Wiig is like scary. Like Kristen Wiig is literally coming out of her mouth.
Wow.
So we
Also,
had
real quick,
that.
first year that they honored television, and they gave pretty much everything went to either unorthodox or I May Destroy You.
Right. Oh, and Crip Camp won for documentary,
Yes, and Quo Vadis Aida for foreign.
which I've not seen, and I hear it's
Me
amazing.
neither. I need to.
I hear it's amazing.
Speaking of television, in a personal news headline, my family and I are up to episode 7 of Ted Lasso, the first season. We are burning through it, and yes, believe the hype. It is
No.
amazing.
Isn't
I
it?
need to watch it.
Yeah.
And the season 2 trailer dropped this week.
Yeah, I saw.
That's
Yeah.
coming this summer.
I need to watch it. So that was that news. And then also yesterday we had the exciting news of a billboard which has shown up in Los Angeles, and it's beseeching Marvel to bring Tony Stark back to life, but it's phrased really awkwardly. It's like hashtag bring back Tony Stark to life.
Life.
Well, our friend Bibbs, William Bibiani, I thought had a really good tweet about it. He goes, so basically you want to undo the ending of Endgame and revoke the sacrifice that Tony Stark makes to save the universe. Okay.
Yeah, it makes no sense. He had this whole beautiful arc. He was selfish. He was arrogant.
Yeah.
He didn't care about anybody else. And he was willing to die for the universe. But you want to bring it all back.
I mean,
Weird hill to die on.
You know, I know we've talked about this on this show before. We all know nobody stays dead in comic books, and probably by extension, right? Except for
the Waynes and Uncle
Parker,
Ben,
right? And Martha and Thomas Wayne, right?
Yeah.
Because those deaths are key to those characters.
Yep.
So, look, like they could always just recast the role, like they've done with James Bond or even Batman for decades.
Yeah.
or
I don't see Marvel doing that. But then there's a date on it. It says like April 24th, 21. So
Yeah,
I guess that was Wednesday.
no, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
It's
That's right, it's
tomorrow.
tomorrow. So I don't know what happens tomorrow. We'll keep you posted.
I mean,
but the one thing that's notable about this billboard is apparently it is on Highland near Santa Monica. It's near Trejo's Donuts in the same stretch along Highland where Tommy Wiseau famously first put his big billboard for The Room. When no one knew what The Room was, he spent a shit ton of money on having that billboard on Highland for a long time. It's a corridor of dreams, people.
But his was closer to Sunset, right? This seems like it's more in Tangerine territory.
It's Tangerine territory, yeah. It's along Highland, though. It's along Highland and Hollywood.
Interesting,
So
interesting.
It's exciting, you know. It's an exciting time. Well, Caitlyn Jenner, we talked about this, I believe, last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, was pondering running for governor. She has now filed paperwork with the help of some Trump people, including one of the key funders of the rally prior to the insurrection on January 6th.
Just a reminder that you can be LGBT and a gross right-wing opportunist at the same time.
It's a weird Venn diagram. It's unusual. Is it not?
Right.
Not
Right.
super
Caitlyn
common,
Jenner is
but
not-
they're out there.
Right. Caitlyn Jenner is not awful for being trans. Caitlyn Jenner is awful for her political stance.
Yes, let's be very clear about that. And it's a very strange moment in the culture because pretty much the Republican Party, like we said, has two things that they are interested in right now: stopping people from voting and fucking up the lives of trans people. So I don't know what they think they're going to accomplish by having a trans candidate run in a state where I think, frankly, she cannot win.
Like, is it a stunt? And if so, to what end?
Well, someone's making money off of it, including Caitlyn included, and others as well, I'm sure.
Got to get one last race in.
I see what you did there. It took me a sec. But I figured it out.
Okay.
Okay, so we got to follow up on some Scott Rudin news. We talked, I believe, last week about the big Hollywood Reporter story about, nothing that is news to anybody who covers this industry, but what an awful monster he is to his employees and how he burned through assistants. And it's like a badge of honor to be able to say that you have survived Scott Rudin. But Vulture yesterday
that.
put out this really long and detailed and like harrowing and granular account from
Wow.
dozens of former assistants as
whoa.
to the specifics of the abuse that they suffered. And some are on the record with their names, and many are not because they still work in this business somehow. And but one person pointed out, interestingly, like if you look at his string of successes, one of them is Lady Bird, right? And so this one person, I believe by name, called out Greta Gerwig and Beanie Feldstein, like, you are strong women, you are progressive women. Why are you not, standing up to this person and speaking out on behalf of other people who have been really tortured by this man for so long? One thing that was interesting too is that he has a type. Apparently, he much prefers young male assistants versus women, and definitely not women of color or gay women. He likes pretty gay Jewish men.
Huh.
So-
I don't know why it's necessarily on Greta Gerwig and Beanie Feldstein any more than it's on anybody else who worked with Scott Rudin to stand up to that. Why not call out, I don't know, Stephen, who directed The Hours, Stephen Daldry, like there are a lot of people who maybe should have and could have said something and didn't.
And I can't help but wonder, like, how different it is when you're on set versus day to day in the production office, right? And one of the things that was really, I thought was an interesting point was one person was saying, you work these crazy hours. You have to be there at 6 and you're working till 7 or 8 and you're, obligated to do stuff on the weekends and you're answering emails at home and blah, blah, blah. But there's only like a handful of people in the office. So it's
10 people.
Right. So they're doing the work of a 30 or 40 person company. And it's like, no wonder so many people are busy all the time.
I haven't read the article yet, but I mean, like, does he do this stuff when the talent is in the office, or
They
does
do
he
address that? Because sometimes he does. Sometimes he puts on the happy face and it's all wonderful. But people who have worked with him, including Chris Rock, there's an anecdote about Chris Rock leaving after having had a meeting with Scott Rudin and saying to whoever is the assistant by the door, "You guys can relax now. I know he beats the shit out of you all day long."
Wow.
Chris Rock could use his power to speak up to Scott Rudin, The Coen brothers, who I adore, could speak up and use their power,
The thing that I find myself wondering about with a guy like that is, when's the transition into being that person? Because like at 3 years old, you're not like that, right? Like at 3-4 years old, you're probably just a toddler and chill and fun and happy. And like what's it take to turn into someone like that? Like, where's that tipping point?
Did some boss do it to him? I don't know.
Yes,
Right?
the story says that the guy who was his mentor did it to him, and so that's what he believes is like the standard. But
There
it's
you
like
go.
it's
swimming with sharks.
It's psychopathic behavior.
Yeah.
He's deeply troubled, clearly.
But
The
sadly,
tantrums he throws.
he's a psychopath and he's successful, so it takes a
He's an
very long
EGOT.
time for people to like.
Anyway,
But
so
then
he,
his-
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say he is quote unquote stepping back from his work to take time to work on personal issues I should have long ago. He says he is, quote, profoundly sorry for the pain my behavior has caused. He's profoundly sorry that he's being called out upon it.
He's going to come back in 3 months with some prayer beads in his hand and be like, "I've done the work, everybody. I've fixed me." Ugh.
Well, it is his right-hand man, Eli something, is also stepping down. The like his number one enabler, as everyone was calling him, is also apparently stepping back and taking a break. I can't remember the guy's last name, but
I can't either, but I know you're talking about.
I haven't read the Vulture piece. I did read the Hollywood Reporter piece by Kevin Spacey. I don't know if that's on your list.
Oh,
but-
I didn't see that. What's that?
Oh, just that like he's facing multiple legal challenges, and basically it's quite likely that he will never work again because there's just the house of cards, if you will, is really starting to fall apart. So
I would think that he was already in never work again territory before all this.
but apparently like this is like literally like there are cases in London being looked at. There's in I think LA, New York, like there's all these different sort of legal challenges and work challenges from like people who worked for the production company that did House of Cards, people who worked for Royal Shakespeare when he was running it, and just like he's just it's just a whole whirlwind of shit of his own creation.
it's basically 2,000 words of, yeah, this dude's fucked.
Oh, I should have mentioned back when we were talking about Caitlyn Jenner. I forgot about this, about Matthew McConaughey potentially running for governor of Texas. He has not even declared. He has toyed with the idea. He has not even suggested whether he would run as a Republican or a Democrat because he insists that he's a centrist, which I don't know that you can be in the state of Texas. What is a centrist in Texas? I don't know. But without even declaring an actual candidacy, he is up on Greg Abbott, the current governor of Texas, by 12 points. The
current governor of Texas is a fucking idiot. But I mean, you would think that after Trump, people might think twice about having people learn on the job in these positions. But apparently not. No. It's like, oh, you're a celebrity. Well, I guess you must be qualified to handle this thing.
I mean, we know what the campaign slogan's going to be, right?
Of course, yes.
Right.
Don't even say it because it's too easy.
Please don't.
It's just too easy. Did you guys see this thing with Morrissey?
Yes.
Did you watch The Simpsons on Sunday?
Not yet. I TiVoed it, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's really funny. And so it's about how Lisa becomes obsessed with this Morrissey-like British singer named Quillaby, former lead singer of The Snuffs, because he's vegan, and he becomes her imaginary friend. The title of the episode is Panic on the Streets of Springfield.
The 80s version of Quillaby becomes her imaginary friend.
Right. He's thin Morrissey. And it's really funny. And like the songs, clearly the writer has a deep affection for the Smiths and for Morrissey's misery, his particular brand of misery. But Morrissey himself is pissed about this. And I guess his manager issued a statement saying that he's not happy. It's not funny. Where?
Yeah, this whole thing about, based on rumors, blah, blah. No. This is fucking Morrissey. You're a goddamn racist and you announce it to the world. This is not a rumor about anything. Ugh.
It's really funny. Speaking of right-wing people, Ted Nugent got COVID. You never want to laugh at someone else's suffering.
Oh, I do. When they vociferously deny that COVID exists, I do. Then,
right.
Yeah.
He said COVID was a scam. He ridiculed people for wearing masks as sheep.
Of course he did.
He called them sheep. But then in a Facebook Live, he acknowledged, oh, yeah, I had COVID and it kicked my ass.
Enjoy your petard, Mr. Nugent.
We sure it wasn't just cat scratch fever?
All the bad puns are just lined up for Matt today.
Man, is it Father's Day already? Because you were making dad jokes.
What else? Well, my husband's calling me. Don't call me now. The Oscars are coming. People who attend the Oscars don't have to wear masks. We're going to do a whole separate Oscar segment, you guys. Next up on the show, we'll do some Oscar picks and whatever.
But they do have to quarantine, though, right?
Is that it?
I believe that's the deal.
Leading up to it?
Yeah, everybody who's participating in the show is going to be not wearing a mask, but they are all under quarantine and being tested.
Yes.
And they're doing it at the
Union Station.
At Union Station.
But they're also doing it at the Kodak, right? Or the Dolby, whatever it's called now.
Maybe. I know a lot of it's happening at Union Station just because they needed a place where people could be distanced and that would still be Hollywood glamorous. So,
but what's so weird is that they're not closing Union Station. Like you could still be like getting a connection to Pasadena or wherever you're going.
Well, I mean, like,
they should just do it at LAX.
I mean, Oscar weekend, did they close that subway stop at Hollywood and Highland?
Believe so. Just for terrorist concerns.
But you can't close Union Station. Okay.
It's interesting.
Steven Soderbergh, y'all.
Well, yeah. So we'll talk about that. Kenny Loggins, national treasure. Kenny Loggins is doing a whole album of his soundtrack songs.
Oh God.
It's coming out. It might be out.
Scare me like that. I thought
no. Oh, no.
Someone's trending on Twitter. It's like, oh no, don't be dead.
Thankfully, Twitter does like a little subhead these days where it's like, so-and-so is trending because they said something stupid or whatever.
Good. Okay. Whew.
No, Kenny Loggins has an album. It's called At the Movies.
Okay.
Where have I heard that title before? And it includes
good idea for a show.
Nobody would watch it. It would only last a year on public television. So it includes I'm All Right, Caddyshack. You got Footloose and I'm Free from the Footloose soundtrack, and Danger Zone.
Of course.
Among your songs on the album.
I need Playing with the Boys.
Yes.
From Top Gun, and I need Nobody's Fool from Caddyshack 2.
I believe those are both also on there.
Good. Okay.
Also, Meet Me Halfway, Across the Sky.
From?
I don't remember what movie. But you know,
you're right. Oh, that rings a bell. Yeah.
Anyway.
People sleep on Nobody's Fool. It's a banger.
John Cameron Mitchell is going to play Joe Exotic opposite Kate McKinnon as Carole Baskin.
As Carole Baskin. Okay.
Is that like, is it too much of like an SNL skit? Is it too on the
I
nose?
mean, that is a
it
little
too
on the
wacky?
nose.
The thing is, by the time it's done, will we have just been Joe Exotic out, or will it be like the second wave? Will it be the Spike and Joe Exotic? You know, the when this thing finally happens.
I mean, I feel like it feels like a lifetime ago what we were talking about Tiger King, but it was really only a year.
It's going to be. I suspect that there will be later on. Weirdly enough, there will be pandemic nostalgia. And Joe Exotic will be part of that, and I guess so will this show.
I don't have nostalgia at all, but
not yet,
like,
but
there are things that occur that I'm like, oh, early days pandemic, like when we used to have FaceTime with old friends across the country.
Right.
And
When
we
streaming
used to watch,
services made a bunch of stuff for free. And
yeah, we used to have like home improvement shows, like house flipping shows, were our nightly escape programming. I don't have nostalgia for that.
Not even, mark my words, 5-10 years from now, people are going to look back at like the time they tried to make bread. They're going to remember that there was a TV show called Haircut Night in America. Like there will be pandemic nostalgia. It's just what we do as a culture.
Haircut Night in America?
Oh yeah, did y'all not watch that? It was an hour-long special about how people were having to get their haircuts at home, and it was like, you know, Rebecca Romaine and Jerry O'Connell like cutting each other's hair and stuff. It was an actual show. Look it up.
Okay, Ian, we know.
And now there's a special hosted by Sierra that was on last weekend, encouraging people to get vaccinated.
Oh, I'm so embarrassed, you guys. I did not know, or I had forgotten what movie Meet Me Halfway was from. Over the Top. The Sylvester Stallone.
Really?
The Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling
movie.
They didn't give all the songs to Frank.
Well, the title song I think was Survivor, right? Because it was coming off of Rocky, whichever one has Eye of the Tiger in it, 3, right?
3.
Huh.
Oh, Meet Me Halfway.
Meet me halfway, because my arm is here and your arm is here.
Yes.
So meet me halfway.
A Canon Films production.
It's very literal. What else do I have for you? A few more things. Oh, Downton Abbey.
Yes.
Downton Abbey 2 is coming out at Christmas, Alonso.
Yes, ma'am. Can't wait.
Does it make it a Christmas movie?
No. I mean, things come out at Christmas all the time. If there's Christmas in it, then it could be considered a Christmas movie.
Like, for example, also the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie is coming out at Christmas. It's
Really?
With Bradley Cooper and Benny Safdie. And a lot of people. There's no title for it.
Do we have a genre or anything? Or
no? It's November 26th.
It's a Christmas movie.
November 26th. It's
Santa's Workshop.
Maybe it's
Don't tease.
streaming. I mean, if Bradley Cooper can play a raccoon, I think he can also play a Christmas elf.
he could do anything.
Don't you? So there is that. Musso and Frank's is reopening.
Yay!
Thank God.
May 6th. That feels like life is returning to normal when a place that is a century-old institution in Los Angeles. For those of you who feel like our hyper-local reporting is potentially alienating, I know we all were eulogizing the ArcLight and the Cinerama Dome last week. I think it matters culturally, nationally. Musso and Frank's also, I think, matters culturally in terms of it is just synonymous with LA, with Hollywood.
I say, as seen in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Ed Wood, among many other films.
Right. There's a whole Family Guy episode where Brian moves to LA to become a director and meets up with the Griffins at Musso and Frank's. And anyway.
Right. There's the whole discussion about how many people they actually need in Ocean's 11. It's like, do we need one more? And Brad Pitt's completely silent. He's like, you think we need one more? We need one more. Yeah.
And that's at Musso and Frank's.
That's at Musso and Frank's as well.
Leos Carax's new movie, Annette, is going to open Cannes. It's a musical starring Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard. I don't even know what it's about. Do you?
He's a stand-up comic and she's a singer, right?
Well, but he's also a singer. The trailer has him singing. His hair is fucking amazing in this.
Yeah, the music is by, as Christy said, the music's by Sparks. Simon Helberg is in this movie too, from Big Bang Theory.
Oh.
In a film de Leo Carax. Why not?
Adam Driver's hair is always fucking amazing. I can't think of a time that it wasn't. Even under the Kylo Ren helmet, you could.
Yeah, no, it's almost as long as yours. Like, and yeah, it's kind of like
okay.
Couple
Yeah, I'm
more
psyched about that one.
things. So Penske, which owns what Variety and IndieWire and a bunch of other stuff, they have bought half of South by Southwest.
Right. They
Oh.
own Variety and
the Hollywood Reporter.
Reporter
Oh, they own both.
and Deadline. I don't think
They own all the
IndieWire.
tabloids. They don't own the Wrap.
Right.
Fucking
They
ain't
own,
right, they don't.
Well, three of the four major trades, right?
Yeah.
Is what they have.
Yeah. Anyway, they bought half of South by Southwest, which I wonder how that affects coverage. I mean, I've loved South by Southwest for many years. It's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. It's no longer the small town.
Penske also owns MRC, which is the aforementioned production company that made House of Cards, that is currently tied up in litigation with Kevin Spacey. Like they are occupying both sides of the fence in a very unsettling way.
Yeah, I mean, so what does that mean in terms of, let's say, the trades do cover everything out of a place like South by Southwest. So try to get to reviews of everything, and interview everybody. Does that mean that only certain movies get covered at this point, like just the bigger ones, to be appealing to the broadest possible audience? Like, what happens? What's the result of this? I don't know,
but it ain't good. Whatever it is, it's not good.
It does definitely make it stray further from what it began life as, and that's been happening for the last decade.
No, it's. I mean, I think unfortunately everything that, I mean, even Sundance, you could make the case that for a nonprofit and for a festival that was originally intended to celebrate sort of independent, low budget, off Hollywood filmmaking, it is part of the big system now. It is a feeding service for, like up and coming filmmakers. It is a place where sponsors have a grand sway. And, and I think, you could also say that Sundance is, I think, still very defensive about making sure that they are, sticking to their original, motto and reason for being as much as possible. But I mean, like, everything and everybody gets corrupted at some point. And so it's hard to remain pure in this, but this is kind of next level in that, I mean, just the whole Penske company trying to be in the production world and the world that the media world that's covering the production world, and now the festival world that's supposed to offer an alternative to the production world. I don't know. It's all too Disney owning everything for me.
Right. And the joy of South by is that for so long it was, it felt like a small town. It was part of the whole Keep Austin Weird kind of vibe, which has not been that at all for like a decade. It's exploded, and this, I think, makes it explode further. Like, but it has to survive, I guess. So
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not just because of South by. You've got so many tech companies going there, and so many, like, tech billionaires moving there, or millionaires, and people who are getting out of Palo Alto are moving there, and so that's really changing the nature of the city.
True.
There's a story in the LA Times today, speaking of real estate, about how it's so bad in California right now, especially like in LA and Orange County, that things stay on the market for like a day and everything has like multiple offers on it. And there's this tricky thing that real estate agents do. Well, they'll post something on like Zillow and Redfin that says coming soon. So the listing is sitting there and you can see all the pictures and even like put in an offer, but it's not officially on the market yet. So that the day that it goes on the market, it's also gone. And then the realtors can brag like, gone in a day. We sold your house in a day. So,
yeah, one of the things that I don't know if they put a stop to yet, but there's been talk about it, is what they call pocket listings. And pocket listings is when a agent knows that a house is about to go on the market, and rather than putting it fully on the market, they can say to their potential buyers like, oh, hey, I know this particular house that we can catch before there's a bidding war or something like that. And
grandma's in critical condition.
Well, so part of the problem is that has contributed to the housing crisis, in that it keeps the gentleman's agreement in place as to who can move into which neighborhoods and who has access to which houses. And I don't remember off the top of my head. I know there was talk about that a while back, like a year and a half ago, about ending that practice and calling on real estate realtors to stop doing that. And I don't know if there's some kind of statute in place that has address that. I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell me that I'm full of shit.
I have two pieces of sad news, and then Matt can do some marquees. Cousin It died last week. Felix Silla died at 84 of cancer. He began also, as a circus performer and a stuntman.
I think he was also in the pilot for Star Trek, like the one that then got turned into the cage.
Oh,
he was one of the big-headed aliens, I believe. I know he was in a Star Trek.
Oh, also Monty Hellman this week.
Yes, 91.
Died at age, legendary Monty Hellman, Two-Lane Blacktop, among many others. There was a great verve to his films.
And the songwriter who did Turn Around Brian.
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah.
Total Eclipse of the Heart, and he wrote
Jim Steinman.
Yeah, Jim Steinman. Yes.
Legendarily produced Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell and the stage musical adaptation of Polanski's Fearless Vampire Killers. Yeah, he and produced Celine Dion, like did all the things.
Anyway, so
you know what we did not talk about, because and this news broke since our last, is we did not talk about the guilty verdict in the Derek Chauvin trial.
We did not. And it's a relief to not be talking about anger and heartache and frustration and violence in the streets again, like we were last summer.
Yeah. Like this is not a situation that is over or fixed, but it would have been worse if they hadn't.
Yeah, I mean, shit. It only took there being like video evidence of someone kneeling on a human being's neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds.
That's what it takes to get a conviction. Is just
right.
Yes. Anyway, Matt, take it away.
Yes, let me call up my marquee screen. We only have a couple today. Okay, our first picture, this is a picture of Mortal Kombat showing in San Francisco. Sarah Aubin sent this in to us. This is notable because the picture to the left of Mortal Kombat, it's hard to see in this, but it says toilet. And it's a guy holding a plunger. And I guess that's some other movie playing there.
Or that's where he thinks Mortal Kombat belongs.
I love that it's playing next to what I'm assuming is a video arcade called Game Room. It's like, well, I guess that's maybe just show the movie in there. You know?
Yeah, well, that's what we saw that, right? Some of the theaters have been doing that, like renting out their screens for gamers to play games on there, which I know I am old and it would make me sick because I would get vertigo.
I hear you.
The Atari games were never like that. Pac-Man didn't make you dizzy. Okay, the next picture is from Tafin in Guatemala, and who writes, cinemas are now open in Guatemala. I wanted to share how I have 38 free movie tickets from winning the Oscar pool last year, but won't be able to use them as they expire in May and vaccinations are non-existent in Guatemala. Can we get information about, yes, that's it. Sorry, that was another note to myself. Yeah, vaccination's not happening well in Guatemala, and unfortunately, Tafin has all these free tickets, and they are showing movies, as we can see at the Sinopolis. Mortal Kombat, Godzilla vs. Kong.
I'm not sure what
is it. Hermosa Venganza.
Big Vengeance. Maybe it's Nobody. I'm not sure what that.
I bet that's Nobody.
Yeah, we know what Guerra con mi abuelo is.
Yes, War with Grandpa.
War with Grandpa. Los
Crudes dos. Yes, definitely.
Ahora con más crudes.
And Nomadland, they didn't even try to translate. And
Pinocho. He's got 8 pins.
It's the 8th one. It's the 8th version of Pinocchio.
Yeah. Pinocho.
That's actually their title for Hellraiser, but
that would be like, how do you say 400?
Yeah, exactly.
So Alonso, so if it's Nobody, why do they call it Hermosa Verganza? Why don't they call it Nadie? Just call it Nadie.
Again, I'm just guessing that that's what it is. Yeah. But I mean, very often titles don't translate directly for one reason or another. There's either that maybe there already was a Mexican film called Nadie, or maybe it didn't test well, or like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles in at least some Spanish-speaking countries is called Mejor Solo que Mal Acompañado, which is better alone than badly accompanied.
As opposed to saying like aviones, trenes, y automóviles.
Yeah.
much simpler.
And it does, and we do it in English too, well, where we totally will change what a foreign title is, you know, to roll more off the tongue or be more marquee friendly or whatever.
Well, right, and then you kind of mess up the whole thing with like the Pan's Labyrinth, right? Because that should have been
Labyrinth of the Fawn.
Right. It should have been the Fawn's Labyrinth or something like that.
But people don't know what they think a fawn is a baby deer, in you know.
It's not.
Well, it's you know, it's the Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone thing. It's, you know, just some concepts translate better than others, and sometimes you just have to change the title to, you know, sell more tickets.
Well, because God knows we don't have philosophers that are worth a damn in the U.S.
Anyway, so that is it for Marquise.
Yes, that's it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Big week. We are wrapping up our coverage of season 1 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And also we have our monthly Off the Menu where our awesome members get to choose a classic that some of us haven't seen to talk about in context of, you know, various things. This month we decided to offer up Best Picture winners that at least 2 of us had never seen before, and our subscribers selected Elia Kazan's Gentleman's Agreement, which none of us had seen, and we'll be reviewing that exclusively for our subscribers. So check out that and other fun stuff, patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Thanks for watching. Have a good week. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time. Bye.